And then on these phone calls to the victim or the mother of your children, you said some very angry things, like especially the one that stood out to me in particular, sir, was the fact that you're in for a violent offense. You shot someone in the face. You had a prior gun conviction, but yet you threaten again to say, nobody hears me until I start shooting or popping people or something like that. You said in those discussions with her.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who somehow got just a 7-year sentence, full time, meaning if he doesn't get paroled, 7 years for shooting another man in the face. And this wasn't his first felony. He has years, going back more than a decade, of serious felonies. Yet somehow a judge and a DA felt that this was the right decision. But has he gotten enough out of his time? Has he learned how to control his temper? Is he safe to be released into the community? Let's find out.
Good afternoon, Kyshone
Just
Jackson.
state your name and inmate number for the record.
Kyshone Jackson, 408-925. Good afternoon.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration for a parole application for Kyshone Jackson, 408-925. He is serving a sentence of 15 years, execution suspended after 7 years with 5 years of probation for assault, first degree, and criminal possession of a pistol. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of December 4th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the follow-up programs. No programs has been completed as of today. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender's overall score for recidivism falls in the bottom range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good afternoon. I feel like I should be granted parole because when I came in, I was 22 years old, and I was young. You know, I made a lot of bad choices in my life growing up. You know, and I never knew what it felt like to have a child that loves me. I have a 6-year-old son. He's 6 now. He turned 7 in February, and he's like my main, he's like my number one support and my backbone. So he gives me inspiration. During my incarceration, I actually learned to want to break the cycle, because when I was in Cheshire, I was with me and my father, we was both locked up together. We both was in the same pod and all of that. And I just want better for myself and for my son. I see that, you know, I'm very remorseful for what I've done to the victim, Alfonso Holland. That's, to me, he's more than just a victim. He's actually like my brother. You know, me and him, we went way back. We painted houses together. We did a lot. I went to his college graduation. I did a lot of things. So I understand my actions was terribly wrong. And I apologize for what I've done to the victim and his family. And during the 7 years, I wanted to better myself. So during the 7 years, I actually did a lot of reflecting on my behavior. I did a lot of reflecting on my past choices, and I want nothing better for myself. When I get out of here, I have a plan. I have a plan to, I got work waiting for me. There's a lot of things that I want to do. I want to better my life. To me, this right here, I can't do this because I have a young child who's growing up, and he's a male as well. So I never want him to see the inside of these walls. I just, I want better for me and him. And when I get out of here, my cousin, he actually talks to the youth. He wanted me to, upon release, he wanted me to get out and go talk to the youth as well. So again, I know I'm going to be judged on, what I'm here for. And like I said, you guys have every right to do that. But I do apologize for what I have done. And I am a better person now. I'm going to be honest with you. I am a better person. I talked to Alan after this situation. I talked to his sister. That's my son's mom.
Hey, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Jackson, to stop saying the victim's name. They have a right to privacy.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
Okay. So, anything else?
No, ma'am. You go ahead. I apologize. I didn't know.
No worries. we're going to ask you questions based on the documents that were available to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Unpack some of the things that you said in your opening statement, and we'll begin with my colleague, Ms. Palmieri.
Okay. So, a couple things. First, I'm happy to hear that you recognize the importance of being a father and what that involves, and that, children give, love without any conditions.
Yes, ma'am.
And its job as the parent to teach them right from wrong. And, I think you've got a sense after being incarcerated with your father,
Yes, ma'am.
what it looks like, being an active parent, a caring parent, and giving guidelines. I think we can look at the fact that and I want to say, we're not necessarily judging you, but we're assessing your suitability
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be in the community,
Yes, ma'am.
right? That the risk to the community, your level of rehabilitation
Yes, ma'am.
that you've been in, and all the efforts that you've done to rehabilitate yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
So we do recognize that you were 22 years old when this happened.
Yes, ma'am.
We understand that young people don't make good decisions.
Yes, ma'am.
Some are worse than others.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate you.
This is on the other end of making a bad decision.
Yes, ma'am.
This is out there. You were on parole when you committed this offense?
Probation.
Probation. And that was for a shooting also, where you had a gun, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So why would you have access to a firearm at age 22?
I was actually a victim of gun violence myself, and I never, it's not an excuse to why I have a firearm, but like I said, it's a bad choice altogether. Bad things can happen. I see it every day. I'm in here with a bunch of guys. I see it all the time. So it's not an excuse, but that's the main reason why I had the firearm, because I was a victim of gun violence myself, to be honest with you.
And this is a prime example of somebody that has a gun and doesn't know how to handle it.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? You're firing a warning shot. Where did you think you were aiming that gun?
Ma'am, honestly, I just shot the shot, and I didn't even know that was going to happen. And that's why I take full responsibility for my poor choices, because I should have never even did that. I let my anger get the best of me, and that's, and that was the end result. That's why I took the time for what I did. And I still feel as if that, like me personally, I never wish this or what happened to the victim on anybody. I never wish that, so this situation, it taught me a lot. I've grown from this situation. So
Grown
honestly,
how? Taught you what and grown how?
it actually taught me, like, gun violence is not the answer at all. Nobody needs to be hurt or even worse, die from gun violence. It's not, me, I washed my hands with that stuff. That's why, when I came in, I was still angry. I got into a couple fights in the beginning, but as of right now, I haven't caught no fighting tickets. I haven't been in no fights. So I'm not a violent person anymore. I'm not a violent person. I get angry and I say violent things. Yes, I'm gonna be honest. There's no reason to lie here. I get angry and I say violent things, but I haven't been in no physical altercations. Because
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I want to slow down just a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to go back to the original event. It all starts with you not wanting to babysit. This is for your son that you've now developed this stronger bond relationship with, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you were 22 then,
Yes, ma'am.
old enough to know what it means to be a father. So why would you give your girlfriend or the mother of your son such a hard time about wanting to go to a job interview and not wanting to babysit?
Honestly, the honest answer is because at that time I was still running the streets. So I didn't, I wanted to go do what I wanted to do. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not gonna sit here and fabricate any stories to y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to run the streets at the time, but I learned over the years, like I said, I see that the streets there's nothing for nobody in the streets. You either end up 6 feet under or you end up in here. I don't want it no more. There's nothing I want. I see my son come in here. He gives me a hug. I talked to him yesterday on the phone, and he actually prayed for me on the phone. And that was something that actually, it brought tears to my eyes, to be honest with you. And it blew my mind. And I was just like, yo, I have to do better. Like, there's no way that I'm going out there and I'm going to reoffend. There's no way.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
that is what we hope.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the goal.
Yes, ma'am.
So normally, when we look at parole cases, we talk about programs that individuals have taken
Yes, ma'am.
to help them make better decisions when they're in the community, giving those tools. You haven't taken any programs. Why is that?
I took anger management.
You did. When did you take that?
I got into Colorado in 2021, so maybe 2022 or 2023. I completed it. I have a certificate for it.
Okay, it says that you're in the program now.
No. I completed it. I got the certificate in my file.
You took that at Carl Robinson?
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't appear on his OAP.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anger management.
So that's it. But any other programs?
I actually, like I said, I didn't, I try to, I'm in school. I'm currently enrolled in school. I'm in a school block, but other programs, it's hard to get other programs in Colorado because this jail houses so many, inmates. So some people are priority and they don't really honor you trying to volunteer to do programs when other people are priority. So I've tried to do everything I could get into, honestly, but it's a little difficult here. And I try to do what I can to better, I actually,
One second. So you've been in since 2018.
Yes, ma'am.
And the only program you've been able to take is anger management?
Yes, ma'am, because I got sentenced in 2021 and I've been here since January 2022. And I've took anger management here.
Okay. And you said you're in the school block. Is that to get your GED?
I am in the school block currently trying to get my GED. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
Can you verify
I've
that,
been in-
Officer Williams?
I've been in the school block now since 2023, I believe. Yes, ma'am. It's 2023.
That's a long time to be in the school block. How's it going?
It's actually going good. I like it. It's quiet over there. It's not a troublesome block. I stay out of trouble. I do what I have to do over there as much as possible. I have, like I said, I have ran into a few problems, phone problems where I end up getting in trouble. But other than that, as far as me being in the school block, it's a good block. I like it. There's a lot of guys over there into college or GED, vocational programs. So I like being around that.
Okay. We want you to get your GED. If you can come out with your GED, it gives you a lot more opportunities for employment.
Yes, ma'am. I actually
Or to get into trade schools or trade programs.
Yes, ma'am. I actually have my brother, he does flagging, and all I have to do is go home and get my flagger certification, and his boss says she'll hire me to be a flagger. And it's something I'm very interested in. It's something because I want to go home and work. I want to go home and work and support my family.
Yeah, we've talked a lot today about structure. Individuals, benefiting from having structure when you're in the community.
Yes, ma'am.
Living regardless of where you're living, but having a place to go, whether it's a job or school, treatment. You do have a number of disciplinary reports. You think that has any bearing on your inability to take some programs?
No, ma'am. That had no effect on me taking any programs, because when I wrote for the programs, they responded and said, "This is not on your OAP. So we have people that's prioritized before you, so you're not able to take this program." But again, like I said, anything that I gotta do to better myself, that's what I would do. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for me to better myself so I could be a better father for my son. It's
Okay.
not all about me anymore.
Well, it's about you while you're in there, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what you do while you're in there is going to help you be a more productive person when you get in the community. So
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
your last DR is interesting to me. So you got a ticket for flagrant disobeying.
Yes,
And it's
ma'am.
because you were upset about being in an addiction services group.
I wasn't in the group.
It says you were in the group because you felt you didn't belong in this group.
No, ma'am. I excuse me. So what I wrote, like I said, I just told you, I wrote to volunteer to do another additional program. And she said, "Okay, cool. I wanted to do tier 2 again. I did tier 2 my last bid. I did tier 2. I wanted to do it again." She says to me, "Okay, I'm going to look into it." But she tries to put me in a 6-month program, tier 4. But mind you, that means I would have to stop school. To me, school, that's not even on my OAP. To me, school is more important than a tier 4 program. And I don't even have a drug case. So I'm actually sitting here in a school block. So I would have to stop school and go to a program, a building that's for 6 months.
Okay, so I'm looking at this disciplinary report. I hear what you said.
Yes, ma'am.
I hear where you feel your priorities were to be in school and not in tier 2 because you'd already taken it on your last incarceration.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a good summary?
It's not, no, because I volunteered to do it. So then you try to tell me that I have to do tier 4, which is not on my OAP. So when I showed my OAP to the lieutenant says to me, "Oh, that's not on your OAP." I know it's not. So now mind you, she says, "Oh, do you want to she said,
Okay,
"Do you want
let's I'm gonna because I'm gonna skip past that a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
And let's talk about the behavior,
Yes, ma'am.
right? It was the behavior when you weren't getting what you thought was the right answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. You got loud.
I raised my voice. Yes.
You raised your voice.
Mhm.
You got a little aggressive. Okay. So this all happens after you take anger management. So,
Yes.
So tell me what could have been different about this whole incident had you used some of the tools from anger management.
Yes, ma'am. In anger management, we talked about walking away. So in that particular instance, I couldn't just walk out. They wouldn't let me just walk out. So
Okay,
I
but that's not
understood.
that's not the only tool though.
No, it's not the only tool. That's
Mhm.
one tool right there. The other
Mhm.
tool is take a deep breath and just sit down and listen to what's going on and try to resolve the problem versus getting upset, getting angry, raising your voice, being aggressive a little bit. Yes, ma'am. It's a bunch of other tools that I didn't use and I should have used them. And I seen that it was the heat of the moment and I was in the wrong. 100% I was in the wrong. That's why I'm man enough to take my, I'm man enough to own up to my mistakes. I am. I truly am. Yes, ma'am.
And that's part of growth. It's part of maturity,
Yes,
right? It's part of being
Yes,
a good parent.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to be a good parent. It's being able to own your mistakes,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Own your behaviors. All right. You do have a number of other disciplinary reports. You have 6 altogether.
Yes, ma'am.
Your fighting ticket was a few years back, but you've got
Yes, ma'am.
security tampering. That's all the phone stuff that you were
Yes,
talking about.
ma'am.
You got a
Yes, ma'am.
threatening it in February 2024, and then you have the issue where you got aggressive about the programming in May.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you were on probation when this happened. What did probation have you do? Were you supposed to be doing any programming, reporting in?
I was supposed to go to Connections. I was going to Connections every Friday at 5:00 in the evening. I was going every Friday, 5:00 in the evening. I was ordered to take urines. I never gave not one dirty urine. I was doing very good. When I'm in the community and I'm on like probation or parole, I do very good on that type of stuff. It's besides catching this case right here, which made me violate. Besides that, I do very good in the community.
Okay. Your release plan says that you want to go to the halfway house, right? And then you mentioned you have work. What's the work you think you have?
I have a bunch of different. I have a A plan, a B plan, a C plan. So my A plan would be if I would like see if halfway house wise, I would have my A plan would be Lowe's. My a good friend of mine is the hiring manager at Lowe's in Meriden, Connecticut. So I could go to Lowe's and get a job there. But if I'm on parole, I could do the flagging. And then a good friend of mine does he owns a landscaping business, him and his wife. So I could go and work for be on the landscaping business too.
All right, so you got some plans. You have some letters of support. I got one from an aunt, your and the mother of your child. Is that the same mother from this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
You have other children? You have 3 children altogether?
Yes, ma'am.
Any contact with the other children?
My oldest, he lives in Georgia.
Okay.
So and then yes, I have a daughter. So and I'm in contact with my daughter and then my youngest son, not my oldest son though.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you haven't mentioned your daughter once.
Yeah, my daughter. I just got a DNA test a few months back, like maybe like last year sometime. So I'm still like in the works of trying to get to know her.
Okay.
So it's a little, yes, ma'am. It's a little, I spend all my time when I'm in the dorm. I spend all my time on the phone talking to my son or my daughter. Cause I want to build a strong relationship. I want them to know that their father always gonna be here. I'm trying to get into their life and be the best role model parent I could be.
All right. And then I'm just going to circle back one time because I see a note that I had about the gun. So the gun was reported stolen from Wallingford.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you buy it off of somebody else?
I bought it off of
You
somebody.
part of the theft?
I bought it off of somebody, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Jackson. It's 9 months from your parole eligibility date to your end of sentence. So regardless of what happens today, you should make good use of whatever's available to you in terms of programming or schooling while you're incarcerated, and continue to work on your plans for release.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Matt.
Certainly. Panel member Page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Jackson, in reviewing your file, I noticed a trend of anger in most of your offenses. When you were voted to parole in 2017, you came back on a violation with the breach of peace because you got into a domestic with your kid's mother and she was pregnant. And then you were working and they fired you from your job because you cursed one of the customers out because you said she threw water at you.
Yes, ma'am.
You got mad at your girlfriend in this offense, or your ex-girlfriend, because she wanted you to keep the baby and you wouldn't. So you took matters into your own hand. That's another angry situation. And then on these phone calls to the victim or the mother of your children, you said some very angry things, like especially the one that stood out to me in particular, sir, was the fact that you're in for a violent offense. You shot someone in the face. You had a prior gun conviction, but yet you threaten again to say, nobody hears me until I start shooting or popping people or something like that. You said in those discussions with her. And for me, it all stems from anger. And I just don't think that anger management is what is going to really help you get a full handle on that. I think that you have some more work to do because unless you want to serve the rest of your life in prison, Mr. Jackson, you have to figure this out. We cannot have this kind of thing happening out in our communities, fearing for our lives because people like yourself who want to take the law into their own hands. And I'm sure that this victim is permanently disfigured. And so for him to forgive you, that's huge. Because I don't think that I would be so forgiving, because it could have been completely different. And you and I wouldn't be having this discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
I just see this repeated behavior for a number of years. And again, until you get a handle on what's making you so angry, you're going to be right back in prison. And yeah, I don't know what you want from us, because this is too much to overlook.
May I say something?
You may.
I understand that I understand it's a lot, and I understand it looks terrible. I know it looks terrible. I'm not a bad person. I just have these problems with my anger. And me being in here, I'm not getting the proper help that I need. I'm not. That's why I came here today. I don't want y'all to have sympathy for me. I don't want none of that. I'm asking for help at the end of the day. That's what I'm asking for.
Well, you
Because
have to take advantage of the help that's being offered to you when it is being offered to you. So whether that's on parole or probation, whatever the case may be, it's up to you. No one's going to advocate for yourself like you will.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
It's my understanding that your mother, is your mom around to advocate for you? But you're grown now.
Yes,
you need
ma'am.
to learn how to do that for yourself. You need to learn how to say, I need this, and listen. I don't know what's going on with this anger. I need to try to figure it out. You have to learn to do that for yourself, or you're going to keep coming back to prison. I hear you talking about your children and them being your incentive, but Kyshone, you need to look out for yourself. You need to be your number one priority, because the last thing that you want to do is to have that anger spill on over to your children. They don't deserve it.
Yes, ma'am. And I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. And I really worked hard in here since I've been in here, man. I tried my best. It's been a period of time. I understand I have 6 tickets, but it's been a period of time where I went years without a ticket. I caught the 2 fighting tickets before, and then I think I caught my first one after 2019 and 2023, maybe. I went years without tickets. So it's I'm very passionate about things. So when I get angry with passion. So that's why I have these outbursts. And it's like, I understand I want to get help for it. I want the help. And that's why I'm asking for the help now. Because prison, like I'm in here every day. There's only but so much I could do in here. Go to rec, school, and that's it.
And there we can make sure that you're not creating any more victims out in the community. We can't just have people shooting people. When you couple anger and weapons, it's a recipe for disaster. You add drugs to that, it's even, like you're upping the ante. I don't know what to say to you to help you see that you're your own worst enemy. You have to think differently. I don't know, Mr. Jackson. I really just don't. I hope that you're done with this lifestyle.
Honest to God, I am. I just want to be with my children. That's it. I get man.
I understand. You have incentive now. I get it. But unfortunately, we have to look at the big picture. It's not just about you and your children. Our jobs, for our number one priority is community safety, public safety. That's 100%. Our number one priority. Do we want you to be successful? Absolutely. We don't need the business in there. You're a young man. You're capable of doing great things. but it's your decision making that lands you where you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So anyway, thank you for talking with me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Jackson, we're done with the questions, so just please sit quietly and let us talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Palmieri?
So for me, I think that Mr. Jackson wants to be a different person. He wants to do better. It's, in terms of public safety, it's incredibly, it's difficult to impossible to overlook his criminal history, the fact that he was on probation for a charge that involved a gun. He shot somebody in the face because he was angry. The fact that he had access to another gun, a stolen gun, is concerning. He's got a number of disciplinary reports. The ones that are disappointing most are the ones after he took the anger management program. I think he knows what he needs to work on, which is a benefit and will help him when he's out in the community on probation. I think his release plan is reasonable for when he does come out to the community. But in terms of suitability for parole, I don't find him suitable for discretionary parole today.
And neither do I. I would love to give him an opportunity out there. It's too big of a risk for me.
Someone who, knows it's illegal to have a firearm and is carrying it daily. And then, to get a DR for threatening to use a gun again amongst the same family members that have already suffered by his actions before is deeply concerning. And I can only imagine how terrified they were to be on the receiving end of that communication. So I have nature and circumstance, offense on probation, inadequate program participation, and evidence of offender change, or institutional adjustment.
That's what I have.
We can knock off change if you wanted.
Yeah.
All right,
Like
Mr.
he really wants to change and he's trying. That's in his own way.
But like you said, there needs to be some resolution because, he's got to decide to be done with firearms and he's got to figure out what's going on with the anger and learn some emotional self-regulation so that other people aren't endangered. So in the matter of Kyshone Jackson, inmate number 408925, there's a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: the nature and circumstance of your offense being committed while you were on probation, inadequate program participation, and your poor institutional adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Parole is denied.
This concludes the hearing for Kyshone Jackson 408925.
What about community release?
That's DOC. You can talk with them.
That's up to correction.
I should never even been talking at this point. Then I just go home and I just EOS. I can't do nothing to me after EOS. That don't make sense. That makes zero sense. If I'm gonna go home and do something, I'm gonna do something. That doesn't make sense. I'm trying to better myself. Y'all just deny me. That makes no sense at this point. I asked for help. When I asked for help, y'all just deny me. So now if I go in the community, what if I
Mr. Jackson,
but what if I go in the community? What if I go in the community and I don't have no help? I don't have no means, and I'm asking y'all for help. Y'all just basically y'all fail me because I'm asking y'all for help. I'm not asking for parole. I asked for to get stipulated to a halfway help. That was the whole point of that.
Well, you're before the parole board and it is parole. So, you have probation, sir, to follow your sentence, and I would suggest that you develop a rapport with that officer so you don't find yourself back in prison. Be as passionate as you are today with them.
Yeah, that shit don't mean nothing. That shit don't mean nothing at this point. If I come back, I come back. Y'all fail me.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Well, if that wasn't an ending to prove that they made the right decision, but really, again, I just have to go to the crazy fact that he's getting out anyways in a minute. He shoots someone in the face and he gets 7 years. What is wrong with you, Connecticut? You know, you can get 5 years alone for carrying a handgun in the state of Connecticut, period. You can be a citizen without any felonies, with a permit valid in 49 other states. But if you walk into the state of Connecticut with that handgun without the state of Connecticut's carry permit, you can get 5 years in prison. Yet, when you're on probation for already discharging a firearm, when you're a felon, and you have a firearm, and then you shoot someone in the face with that firearm, you get 7 years. Maximum sentence. What? And as you can see, there's no accountability. There's nothing. He's getting released October 22nd, 2025. Watch out, Connecticut. Watch out for everybody who he's pissed off. Oh my God. And the DA and the judges, these are supposed to be, and now you can get insight into why people might be afraid to even tell the police or tell, oh yeah, this person, because they know the system's not going to protect you because they might get released in a second anyways. How do you not have a man for attempted murder? I can't with this stuff. What are you doing? Clearly, it's not enough time. This, you know what you want to say, if you want to take his side of the argument, you want to say, Mandoo, you have blah, 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 whatever. Say what you want. Okay, fine. So it seems he was in jail since the time it happened and we'll go through the article, for like 2 or 3 years. I guess he was doing some stuff with the DA, because he's arrested. Let's see what year he was arrested for this. 2018. So he's in jail. Then he waits 2 years to get prison. Then they finally transfer him to this prison. And then he has to wait, he's there for 2 years and he doesn't get in any programs. So you must say, well, the system, they should have. So it's not his fault because he couldn't get any programs. Or maybe a judge should have given him a proper sentence, a sentence that it's not about punishment, although in this case there should be punishment. You shot a man in the face. But it's like you need also to protect your community. You need to give enough time to rehabilitation. You need to give him a wake-up call. What do you think is going to happen when he gets out with that? Obviously, with the same temper. God, it's like, and then they're going to say when something, how did we know? We had no idea that this was going to happen. It's such a shock to us. Oh, poor us, And meanwhile, who is it? It's there's no reason. There's no reason you give a plea deal. There's no reason you give a plea deal. In this case, the conviction is in your hands. Let's go over the article. Let's just see what it is. Thank you, Richard. As always. Police are looking for Kyshone Jackson as a suspect in Thursday shooting in Long Lane, Middleton. Shortly after 12 noon, October 18th, Middletown police responded to a report of a victim shot in the face. The suspect left the scene before police arrived. According to Lieutenant Heather Desmond said that the victim was found lying in the middle of Long Lane with an apparent gunshot wound to the face. The victim was taken to St. Francis Hospital for treatment of the injuries. Desmond said the extent of the injuries is unknown at this time. Jackson said that the victims knew each other prior to the incident, and Desmond said it's an isolated incident. Jackson described as 6 foot tall, weighing 140. Well, he certainly put on some weight in prison. Should be considered armed and dangerous. Middletown schools were secure during the incident. The area of Long Lane and Santiago Circle is blocked off to public so the police can continue their investigation. Yeah, and that's it. That's it. That's all that you get. And remember, so we have his record here. I'll read it to you. So we have, and Connecticut only goes back 10 years on the record. So it starts in 2014 from what Richard shared, but of course it goes back farther, but we only have 10 years of it. And the moment it's allowed to start, it starts. So October 6, 2014, sale of narcotics. So he gets 5 years jail, but they suspended it. Then he violated that. So he got 18 months jail. And I guess he violated it on 4/29, 2015, carrying a pistol without a permit. Sentenced to 18 months jail. Hindering prosecution, 3rd degree. Probation terminated 12/17/2021. He got out. You know, he didn't serve the whole time because, as you can see here, well, I'm just reading it to you so you can't see it, but he was arrested on 1/31/2018, breach of the peace. He got his probation terminated again, sentenced to 6 months jail, suspended it. And then it looks like, I don't know, shortly thereafter, this is when he shoots a man in the face. Sentenced to 15 years jail. But suspended after 7, probation 5 years. So the maximum sentence was 7 years. You can't make it up. And there you have it, really. The insanity of the system, the complete inability to protect the citizens that they are charged with protecting, the inability to protect the man from himself. This isn't about being mean. It's in his best interest to be in the prison longer, to get some maturity, to grow up, to gain control of his temper, because what's going to happen is he's going to get out and he's going to land back in prison. You know, we're going to probably see, now it's not parole, so it won't be a revocation hearing. He's just on probation. So we're not going to see him back. But we do cover inmates when they come back from parole. So that's why you should subscribe and help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers. We keep track of all the inmates here. This isn't just one-off goes, right? So the judge, the DA, it's a disservice to every person involved in this. And I say especially to him. Especially to him, because he is headed, he's gonna, so this is, nothing good is gonna come from this. And with that, I'll let you go.
And then on these phone calls to the victim or the mother of your children, you said some very angry things, like especially the one that stood out to me in particular, sir, was the fact that you're in for a violent offense. You shot someone in the face. You had a prior gun conviction, but yet you threaten again to say, nobody hears me until I start shooting or popping people or something like that. You said in those discussions with her.